Welcome, Queens, to another episode. I have someone with me today, and she's actually a very special friend of mine, Julia. And the reason that she's with me today is because me and Julia have known each other for a couple of years now. We met through the horses, which Julia still does. I'm sure she'll share her story. And we just caught up a few days ago, and she's in a really good place. She's really happy with her life and all of the things. So I asked her the question of, why do you think you're happier now, and what's helped you to reach this place? And the response that I got, it just blew my mind, her response. So I wanted to share this with you because I think it will help you so much. And Julia was like, oh, why do you want me on your podcast and all this? And I just want to make it clear, and I know I've told you, Julia, already, that I want to help people. And in order to help people, it doesn't have to be people with like loads of followers, or people that are coaches, or people that are doing the work that changes lives. It can be people that are doing their passion, and Julia's passion is horses. I'm going to let her talk in a minute, I promise. But just like be doing them, but also their actions are having that butterfly effect of self-love on the world, and they don't even know it. So that's why I've asked Julia to come in. So without further ado, welcome, Julia, to the show.
Hi.
I'm so happy that you said yes, because I know it was like a big question.
Yeah, I am like a little bit nervous. So hopefully I don't sound like shaky or strange. And if I say something silly, then I'm sorry.
If people know me, I say silly things all the time. Like sometimes I'm legit speaking and I like can't say a word, and I'm like, I don't even know what the word is anymore. So
yeah, no.
Be yourself, fully be yourself, and just relax. So as always, when I have a guest on, I'm going to ask you like 10 random questions just for you to relax and for the listeners to get to know you a little bit more.
Okay.
So are you ready for that?
Yep, 100%.
Okay. So number one, what's your full name and where are you from?
So my full name, well, Julia Lyttle, or Julia Molly Irene Lyttle, to use my middle names as well. And I'm from a wee town called Dromore in County Down in Northern Ireland. But I am currently living in just outside Hengelo in the Netherlands.
And I love your accent so much.
Thanks.
Thank you. And how's the Dutch going, by the way?
Terribly. Awful. Non-existent. Basically non-existent. I can serve a table in a restaurant, kind of from like start to finish, but I can't have a conversation in Dutch at all. And obviously it's like the pandemic and stuff at the minute, and the restaurants are shut. So like, no, it's terrible. But do you know what? Everyone speaks English, so it's all right.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat. It's not got better, to be honest. I am learning, so I will be getting better. I'm having lessons now, so we'll see.
It's a really hard language.
Like
really hard. So
it's heel moeilijk, huh? Really difficult.
Just about know what that means.
And what do you do as an occupation?
So, yeah, that's kind of a funny one. From I left school, I worked with horses. That was what brought me out to Holland. Through like a mutual contact, a girl that was working out here. I kind of got offered a job basically over the phone, and was told to come out, try it for 3 months, see if you like it. I said I was 20 at the time when I come out, so it was just over 4 years ago. And I said I would come for 9 months and then go home and go study in Belfast. I did the job for 3 years. Didn't leave.
You must have liked it then.
Yeah, I did. It was a brilliant job, so it was. And you know yourself, you get in a relationship and all the rest, and decided to, after 3 years, I decided it was enough. I was going to study. I'm now a student at a Dutch university, fully in English. So I work in a restaurant part-time alongside that. So my current, I made a meal of that, but my current occupation is a waitress, I guess, is the best way to.
Yeah, that's awesome. And you ride horses still, right?
Yeah. Whenever I have time. So yeah, my boyfriend, he's from Tipperary in Ireland, like right in the south. and he's got his business with horses out here. So whenever I have like time and the weather's nice, I'm a hobby rider now. That's how I would describe it. It's no longer my occupation. I'm now a hobby equestrian enthusiast, shall we say.
Like we used to call those fair weather riders.
Yeah. Oh, that's me now. I used to look at that and be like, oh, no, you know, if you're going to do it, you do it full hack it, and you get out every day and you're riding the rain. But no, not now.
You can choose now.
Sorry.
You can choose whether you want to or not now.
Yeah. It makes it a lot more enjoyable.
The power of choice. And when you answer the next question, what I'd like to ask a bit more about him. Do you have a partner?
Yes. So his name's Matty Houlihan, and I just said he's from Tipperary down the south of Ireland. And we funny story, our houses at home are like about a 3-hour drive from each other, but he worked half an hour down the road from me, worked and lived half an hour down the road from me for a year. We never met in that time. And then I came out to Holland. We were working together. That was how we met. After a while, we ended up in a relationship, and we've been together now for like, we've officially been together now for like 2.5 years, I think.
Are you any marriage on the cards? Do you know?
Not yet. No, not yet. No. I don't need to be engaged while I'm still a student. That's what I say. So, but yeah, we live together here, and I try to help him a little bit with his business, with his horses, and yeah, he's a great fella. He's a good lad. So
I know Matty personally as well, and he's a really nice guy. In fact, I met you through Matty. From I used to work at the stables. I used to actually, I don't think I ever rode there. No, I just used to muck the stables out and just help around the yard, and then met each other through there, which is awesome.
Yeah, it was really nice. It was a really nice encounter. So yeah.
No. It's amazing how life takes you to places that you never know that's where you're going to go, and then you meet the people that you never think you're going to meet, and it's just and of course I saw you and Matty, and I was like, oh, someone who speaks English. Like, please be my friend.
I know. And then we were like, we go to the same gym, this is great. And we can gym together and chat in English, and
yes, it was wonderful.
It's nice. Yeah.
And do you have any children or fur babies?
No, I've no children. I've no plans for children anytime soon. And as for pets, no, unfortunately, in our apartment, we're looking into getting a dog a few months ago, but we're not allowed a dog where we live. But at home, like in my family home, my brothers have 2 wee Jack Russells. So I love being home and spending time with them. We've also got 40,000 chickens.
Wow.
You don't play with them. But so no, two dogs I'd love to spend time with when I'm at home, but that's it, unfortunately.
Okay. And what is your life dream or your secret dream? Like if I legitimately had a magic wand, what would you be doing as a career?
As a career? Do you know what? I can't even specifically say like a career. If in my mind, the ideal situation is I'm at home, I'm somewhere in Ireland, like it doesn't have to be north, south, like whatever. I'm somewhere in Ireland. I'm in driving distance to my friends and family. I'm self-employed. In which sector? I don't know. Maybe I have a portfolio of multiple different businesses. There'll always be something to do with horses in there, or at least I'll always have that connection through Matty and stuff. So yeah, my dream career, I'm not really sure, but I know that I want to work for myself. I know that much. I've known that much for a long time. So yeah, that's kind of, I don't know, the dream, just having a good time.
That's a beautiful point in life, I think.
Yeah.
And what are you studying?
I'm studying international business administration.
So, say that again, because you went really quiet.
Oh, international business administration.
Oh, perfect. So that you can run multiple businesses with that.
Hope so. So I have a 1.5 years still to go, and then I'll have a bachelor degree. But yeah, we'll see. I think that's also the good thing for myself of kind of, obviously the ones I study with are kind of 17, 18, 19. So I'm a little bit removed from that crowd. But to be honest, if grand for me, and I'm focused, and I just, do what I need to do my any work, go to work. I'm happy with it, and hopefully I'll have a degree in a year and a half's time. So
Oh, you absolutely will.
So,
What's your favourite food is the next question, number 6.
what was my favourite food?
Yeah.
Oh, we'll go with chocolate.
Yeah, that's mine.
Chocolate or potatoes, because potatoes are so versatile. You have crisps, you have chips, you have mash, you have champ,
That is a very good point, actually.
Yeah.
Very
Not
good.
crisps, but potatoes.
You know what I miss over here? So obviously, well, you're not English, but you're from the United Kingdom. Unless I'm missing something, over here in the Netherlands, I cannot find anywhere a jacket potato, like a jacket spud, where you obviously have it as a spud. Where?
Texas rib house. Buffalo.
To make them at home.
Oh, what? Sorry, what do you mean? Like to
buy, because I can't find potatoes that are like.
Oh, like a good big oh yeah, no, don't think they exist here. They're all real like mini size potatoes.
Yeah, and it's just it's not the same. Whereas you go into Tesco and you've got like potatoes like in a bag saying baked potatoes.
Yeah. No, I know what you mean. Yes, no, I understand that. Yeah. I make potato wedges for my lunch a lot, and I have to use like 5 or 6 potatoes to like have the amount of potato wedges that I want. So yeah.
It's real life dramas, guys, like living in a different country that we experience.
Struggle is real.
Struggle is real.
Yeah.
And number 7, what do you wish people did more of?
What do I wish people did more of? I'm trying to think of smart answers here.
Follow your heart. Whatever the first thing that comes up is your answer.
I wish that people could just have like a bit more crack, like a bit more fun, and just kind of be able to like appreciate the weird things, appreciate like the smaller things, and just try to a bit less complaining, a bit more enjoying, and having a bit of fun when possible, I guess. Maybe.
Yeah. I have that same dream. I wish people did that. Like sometimes even myself, like when I can feel myself like tense or trying to control something. Of course, I teach this stuff, so I'm very self-aware, but it still happens, right? So when I notice that, I like imagine myself like in this whatever I'm in right now that's causing the anxiety or whatever it might be. And then I like imagine like I'm watching myself and I'm zooming out. So then I see myself in my house and I zoom out. Then I see myself in like the Netherlands, and then I zoom out. And then I zoom out until I'm looking at the planet Earth from space, which sounds a bit weird. And then the Earth's turning because that's also what it does. And you've got the sun and the moon. And then I'm like, that's how insignificant my quote problem is.
Yeah.
But at the same time, each and every one of us are so significant, if I'm putting the words in the right context, then we actually realize. So yes, our problems are insignificant and the whole world, how big it is. But us as individual people, there's no one the same ever in this whole world, that apart from you, there's only one you. That's how significant you are. So when I kind of remind myself those two things, I'm significant and valuable and magic, but my problems are insignificant, then I'm like, yeah, it's all good.
Yeah. I love that you say that. Like I can't say that I've tried to imagine like the earth spinning and stuff, but I love what you said there, and I completely agree with it. And yes, I try to remember, like when it's myself, that yes, you know what, like somehow everything's gonna be fine. Like I've survived everything this far, like somehow everything works out. But whenever I'm like chatting with friends and stuff, and I try to be really conscious of being compassionate and stuff, and yeah, like we all have problems, and I try to be like, I'm not gonna compare my problems to someone else, because I might think, oh, that problem's small in comparison to mine, but you know what, if that is fully consuming their life right now, that problem's huge to them. And so but I also try to remember that, yeah, do you know what? In the grand scheme of things, it's insignificant, and we're going to be grand. We're going to be fine.
I love what you just said. I just absolutely love that. Like, that is the truth. Like, it's like a phobia. Like, my best friend's scared of spiders. Like, legitimately, like, if it's in the bedroom, she's a 40-year-old woman, and she'll go and sleep on the sofa if the spider's in her bedroom.
Okay.
And so, of course, we tease her about it. Like, we can have banter and we can play around. But honestly, that is real for her.
Yeah.
That's real for her. So the fear that I used to have, and I know I'm kind of, these are meant to be quick questions, but there's some golden nuggets in here, so we're just going to go with it.
Sorry.
No, it's me also. I'm doing a whole spiel right now. Where was I going with this? Oh yeah. So like the old me would have been genuinely petrified, and I know I want to hear your story too, Julia, in a moment. When I was like having problems with body dysmorphia and all of that, getting in a bikini was like extremely fearful for me. Like, the anxiety will be there, the breathing shallow will be there, the panic would be there. And whereas someone could look at me and be like, well, you're beautiful, and like, you've got a body most people would love, and that was very nice to hear, but I didn't feel or receive that because I didn't believe it for myself. So again, that fear for me was so real. So I love what you said about, yes, there's people dying, there's bigger problems than what we have. But if that problem is consuming your life, that is a big problem for you.
Yeah.
If you perceive that. I love what you said.
I'm glad.
Number 8, don't worry if you can't think of one, because if I ask myself this question, I'll be like, oh my God, I can't give you one. What's the most memorable book you've ever read? That is a hard question. I'm not going to lie. Sorry.
Most memorable book I've ever read. The very last Harry Potter.
Yay! I love Harry Potter.
I read it in a week. My auntie read it in a day, but I had never, ever got through a book in that amount of time. And I also only was maybe like 15 or 16, I don't know, but I wasn't very old when it came out, and I got through it in a book. So that's my most memorable book.
That's amazing. If anyone, that sounded roboty then.
Oh.
If anyone listening who doesn't like Harry Potter, then please email me, and I'm being serious, and be like, and tell me why. Why don't you like Harry Potter? Oh dear. Okay, number 9, you don't have to tell me what the thing is, if there's a thing, right. But is there anything that you have never told another soul in your whole life? Something about yourself that you've never told another soul?
Yeah, I think there is, yeah.
I might ask you on a private level another time.
Okay. Yeah, I think there is. I'm trying to think, but no, I'm pretty sure there's some stuff that I just have. Certainly, even when I was younger, I would have bottled deep, deep, deep down. So, yeah, I can pretty confidently say that there is. Yeah.
Oh, interesting. I love that.
Okay.
And number 10, last but not least, what animal would you be reincarnated as, of, be, can't speak, and why?
Provided it had a nice home, a dog, because dogs just have the absolute time of it. Like sorry, I'm making a long answer of this, but I seen this thing the other day and I thought it was amazing. But we sit and we look at dogs and we watch the dog chase its tail in a circle and we go, oh, aren't dogs so easily amused? Look at him amusing himself, chasing his tail. That dog might be thinking, humans are so easily amused. She is loving me chasing my tail here. So, trying to make us happy. The dog's doing that because they can see we're enjoying it and we're watching them. So
that's actually, again, a great way. It's all about perception of everything. Yeah. Like, there's something I share with my clients quite often, and when I heard this, I think I heard this from Hollis. What's the first name? It will come to me, but everyone who's into personal development, most people will know Rachel Hollis. It's come to me, Rachel Hollis. And she shared this with me, and it really landed. So if you imagine a house on fire, you've got a house and it's on fire. And then you've got a few different people that are looking at this house on fire. So you've got the person whose house it is, they're going to feel devastated, scared, all of the things. You've got an onlooker, like a passerby who has no personal attachment to that house, but who just sees a house on fire. They might feel like intrigued or also a bit worried because it's just a random house on fire.
Yeah.
You've got an arsonist who set the house on fire, who is going to feel excited, getting off on it, all of those things. And then you've got the firemen who literally see it as a job to do.
Yeah.
So you've got the same, exactly the same scenario, however many people, I said 4 or something like that, and 4 different, completely different perspectives.
Yeah.
As well. And I think that was really powerful to just let that sink in. I mean, yes, it's a house on fire, it's an extreme example, but when we talk about body image, for example, you know, we look at ourselves, people say, oh, I would love to look like you, or all of these nice things. But that helped me to understand that just because I see that, this is when I first started my journey, it doesn't mean everyone else also sees the same as what I see.
Yeah. Yeah. Of course. Yeah.
That helps me. But I would love for you to share. So tell me a little bit in shallow terms on your response to my message, but then I want you to, well, I would like you to share your story, then I'm just going to chip in along the way. So when I said to you, like, oh, I'm so glad, I'm so happy to hear that you're feeling a lot better and happy, like, why do you think that is? Like, what's changed from last time we spoke? And then your answer.
Okay, so well, oh my gosh. First of all, so the last time we were like properly chatting was, I remember it was April, and I had kind of fled Holland at the start of the pandemic and went home, and I ended up being at home for 3 months. And I can remember that like one of the last things we were chatting about was in the days before I went home, so in the first week of the kind of like lockdown over in the Netherlands, my head was totally up the left, like didn't know what to be at with myself, couldn't, and felt awful for a mix of reasons, because I had been working so hard at the time to stay on top of work and uni work to like a point where I was severely like sleep deprived. I was run down actually. I was run down. But I was feeling really, really crap. Sorry if I can say that.
Oh, I use the F word.
Oh, okay, right. I've been feeling really crap, and I was frustrated. Why is this happening now? Like, I have worked so hard to be on top of everything. I am on top of everything. I'm sleep deprived to be on top of everything. I'm ready for my exams next week. And now the exams are being pushed back and we don't know when they're going to be. And this had me raging. And then I was also like, and I can't go to work and I can't earn money and all these things, which it kind of sounds funny to myself saying it back. But so I spent a couple of days in a really bad headspace, and I basically one day I thought to myself, I tried to make a change. I went to the shop and bought some like little dumbbells and a skipping rope and stuff that would just make myself feel better, because obviously exercise. And I thought, great, this is it. I woke up with a new mindset, and these things are going to help me. This skipping rope and these dumbbells, I'm looking at them right now, they are going to change this whole thing for me. I am buzzing. I drove home, or I was driving back, and I burst into tears. And I was like, what am I doing? What's going on? Like, I can't control my mind right now. And I basically, later that day, I sat and I was like, what would Victoria do? And that is that. I told you that. You know that it's the truth. I said, what would Victoria do? I booked a flight and I flew home. I left my boyfriend here on his own. Obviously, we talked about it. But I was like ringing. I had to use my mother's card because, you know, like the bank cards here, you can't pay for things online. Ringing my brothers, being like, go out in the yard and find mum, get mum. Or someone send me credit card details. I need a card. I need to get home right now. I was home like the next morning, and things started to get better, and I like taken control of the situation and started to make change. And anyway, so to make a meal of that, that was kind of the last time we chatted. I was telling you about I was kind of just saying thanks. I was like, thanks to you, I was like brave enough to like make this decision and it's working out great. And so then I was talking to a friend about yourself the other day, and then I thought, oh my goodness, when is the last time I chatted to Victoria? So I sent you a wee text, and as you do, you like when we have a conversation, you'll say, and why, and then you'll explain like why you want to ask that question. You're like, I want you to go deeper and think about this and this. So I had said, I'm in a great headspace, I'm having a great time. You had said why, I'm asking because, and basically my answer was along the lines of, or I guess if I answer it now, I have kind of I've been on a journey like over the past year or more with like just accepting myself, you know. I'm still not fully there yet, but, and again, this is thanks to you. And like the books and stuff you introduced me to as well. I'm on this like, I'm a lot more accepting of myself, and lately, like even in the last few months, I have really become a lot more like conscious and aware of like my mind, my mindset, and I have made like conscious decisions to, instead of whenever something does happen, I no longer go, why me? But I go, okay, so what am I learning from this? How can I improve from this? Or I, even in the rain, I go out walking every single day. Now I love going for a walk with a podcast or on the phone to a mate. So even if it's raining, I go out and appreciate that. I put the waterproofs on, like I'm not letting the rain get in my hair. But I go out and I appreciate it, and I'm aware of what's around me. And I've seen so many little woodpeckers lately, like I'm listening for it, and then I'll stop and I'll look for them. And I don't care if cars pass me and think, why is she staring at the sky? I do it, and I appreciate, I'm trying to appreciate the smaller things, and it's bringing me a lot of joy, I have to say. It's
I
so
love that. I love that so much, and I've got a lot of questions around this. So you're very self-aware, which is the first step to change, and obviously you've gone way past the first step, because you've not only noticed, because when you were in Holland and you were desperate to go home, which is so beautiful how you said, okay, what would Victoria do? And what I would do is follow my heart, and you knew that. So your heart was obviously saying, just go home for a bit, in order to then, like, you know, help yourself be okay. So when you was in Holland before you left, can you see now that you were in full victim mentality? Why me? Can't do this. And that's okay. You know, people listening, I don't want to be that annoying person in this pandemic, like saying be happy and be positive. I'm not saying that, because we all have feelings and we need to express our feelings always. But is being in that mentality ever going to help you get anywhere? What's it going to bring?
No, yeah, that's, I think the same. Like, do you know what? As cliche as it is, every cloud does have a silver lining somehow. And as hard as that can be to believe sometimes, there is something to be learned from every situation. And at the end of the day, learning and knowledge and all this and that, it's going to help you. It's going to help you grow as a person. So there is always, and yes, I was incredibly like, I was like, this pandemic has come to stop my exams happening. You know, like that's how selfish I was being, like, but I wallowed in it for a day or two because I'm human, and then we move on, you know. But yeah, gotta look for the bright side.
You took that step though, so you wallowed in it, and I like to actually create this on purpose and call it a pity party. Like, I encourage clients to feel everything that they're feeling, so it's not a case of, oh, we'll just be happy, and you know, no, that's not, I'm not saying I'm a fucking happy person. Like, yes, I have days where I feel emotions that aren't happy. I mean, for God's sake, I'm
Yeah.
but I am like, okay, like, when was it? 2 days ago, I actually said to Wouter, my fiance, I said, can you hold space for me for 5 minutes while I just go bleh and just shove everything that I'm annoyed out onto you? And can you hold that space and listen and just genuinely be there? And
Yeah.
I mean, I'm so blessed that I've got a conscious man as a boyfriend, like he said, of course. So he very patiently just, and a lot of it was about him, you know. I've read all the books about how to communicate and you know, I know that when we communicate with others, the best case scenario is always to share my feelings first and how do you feel, and never make it about the person. But at that time, I was just before my period, I was feeling all the feels, and I was like, I just need to just let it out.
Yeah.
And I did. And he just said, is there anything else? Like, he wasn't taking the mick. He was like, is there anything else? And I was like, I think I'm done. And then he just hugged me, and that was it. And then we talked about how we can move forward. So feel your feelings. If you want to throw yourself a pity party, please do that, because if we don't, like, our emotions are energy in motion, and if we don't let those emotions through us, they start manifesting in different ways, like we get sick or we're always sad and all of that. So I just wanted to share that with you and with everyone listening, to like express how you feel. It's okay, we're not going to be happy all the time, and that's fine.
I am just to like add on to what you're saying, because I've like kind of such a similar thing. But so I naturally, whenever if a friend's chatting about their problems and stuff, I want to like I kind of go that I want to like give my opinion and to try to help or whatever. And but when I'm in the other situation, when I'm the one giving out, my best friend Susie, like my best friend in the whole wide world, we're like neighbors and have known each other from before we have memories. But she is like so like rational and logical, and really sometimes I ring her and I complain and she comes back with these really rational, logical answers and advice. And sometimes I'm like, but I just want to give off. I don't want any rationality right now. I just want to give off. So whenever I'm like chatting to friends and they're saying it, like depending on the situation, if it is something, you know, a wee bit deeper or whatever, I'd be like, now, is this a conversation that you just want to give off and get it out? Or do you want my like advice and opinion? And go, because I had it with a friend the other week and she was like, and she thought about it and she was like, no, I do not go for it. Give your opinion, you know, but sometimes I'm like, you just want to give off, or do you actually want to chat? Because sometimes you do just want to give off, you know?
Yeah.
And try to let that happen.
I love that you're so aware of that for your friends as well, because what we're talking about, the feminine and the masculine energy, obviously we're feminine, but we do have both energies inside of us, and so do men. However, because we're feminine, we operate more from our feminine if we're balanced. Like, a lot of women are operating from their wounded masculine, which is what I used to do. Always have to do something, always have to achieve something in order to be enough, you know. And the society praises masculine energy. So the reason I was talking about that, why was it? Oh yes, that was it. As women, and my audience is like 99% women, our emotions are our power. So for you to be able to hold space for your friends, just to express and just to hear them and listen to them, and not wait to speak, like, and I practice this, I'm a coach, so my number one skill is listening and love. And I've had to practice listening, because what a lot of us do, so just be curious now, anyone listening, just be curious about this. When you're having a conversation with someone, are you listening or are you waiting to speak?
Yeah.
Like, and I sometimes wait to speak. I sometimes still wait to speak. So I'm like, oh, that's really going to help. Like, I want to wait to say that. But then I have to come back and be like, no, am I listening and fully being present and holding space for this person's feelings? Or am I trying to get something in that I think is going to help? So listening is huge.
Yeah. Try.
Yeah. And like, and men, you know, the masculine energy, they like to fix things. Because they want it to be okay, and they're kind of like, okay, you feel this way, what can I do to fix it? And sometimes, no, we don't want to fix it, we just want to be heard and be held, and that's it. So I love that. And I also love that you said every cloud has a silver lining, we can learn things from everything. What do you think is the biggest thing? I've got loads of questions, which one do I ask first? What's the biggest lesson you've learned? So if you think of the old Julia, think of your mindset, you know, like last year, whenever it was, think of how you felt, how you saw things, how you perceived life, compared to now. What's the biggest thing you've learned, would you say?
The biggest thing I've learned is to not be so hard on myself and to be compassionate to myself, because a bit like you say that we all have this feminine and masculine energy. I've never really thought about it, but now that you say it, I probably have quite a lot of like masculine energy for a girl, because just how I was brought up and stuff. And like I live in a, well, there's my mom, my dad, and three brothers, and we're on a farm. So, it's kind of like bit of survival of the fittest and eat or be eaten, and stuff like this. Um, and I would I would have been quite like obsessed. I'm a bit like, I don't know if I want to say obsessed, but you know, if I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it right. If I'm going to put my time into it, I'm going to get it. I'm not doing something half. I'm either not doing it at all, or I'm not doing it half-assed. And kind of this feeling of wanting to, show, I am the hardest worker, and I am, the best at this. And oh, you want to take me, like, we can give it, like, I'll hold my own in an arm wrestle, and like silly things like this. And so this time a year ago today, or a little before, like last Christmas, I would have been, it's in all aspects of my life. If I was binging on food, I would have been beating myself up. If I was doing a workout and struggling during it, or not running as far as I planned to run, I'd beat myself up about it. If I was unproductive with my studying, I was beating myself up about it. Just things like this. So I've basically learned, like, give yourself a break, you're only human, like, so just do the best that you can. And when you have a bit of an unproductive day, sure, it's not the end of the world.
Yes.
So that's my biggest learning thing.
So much, yes. And I said that because we haven't spoke about, anyone listen, we haven't spoke about what we're going to speak about. This is just like, just naturally flowing. But the number one thing I teach my clients, obviously I teach them more than one thing, this is coming out wrong. The main point at the beginning that I teach my clients is self-compassion. Always, always, always. And self-compassion isn't a get out of jail for free card to just don't try, or, don't improve yourself. But the funny thing is, to get where you want to go, whatever goal you have, you're going to get there so much easier, faster, quicker, and joyful, being pushed by love, or pulled by love, should I say, other than pushed by fear of not enough, or not good enough, or do better, or do. Like, it should be, and again, I don't like to use the word should, but when you feel that pull of love towards something from yourself, like, you can create this yourself in your internal environment, in your mind. It just takes practice. And I love that you said that. I mean, I've not even coached you. Like, yes, we've had conversations and we're friends, but you've not been through like a coaching process. You've just figured this out yourself. Like, oh no, wait, like, speaking to myself like shit doesn't actually get me anywhere.
Yeah. No, I've like, and just to build on it there, and from what you said and all, I have learned that, yes, if you want to change or progress or whatever, it has to come from love, and not hate, or feeling that you need to, or that it's necessary. Because I mean, even the example of school, like whenever I was in school, it was a torture, and it was something you had to do, and I'd no desire to do it. I'd no desire to learn when it came down to the exams, because of my crazy, like, competitive, and I must be the best. I, in the end, worked like a madman for my exams, and I'm grateful to say that I got good grades in the end. But the knowledge was going like that. Whereas now I kind of have this thing of like a bit of like a thirst for knowledge and stuff, not to sound too cheesy, but I want to learn things. And even like, I'm really into the running lately as well, or lately, like the last year or so. I've always ran a bit, but I've consistently been running for the guts of a year now. And someone would go, "Oh my God, why do you run? Do you hate yourself?" And I'm like, no, like, I don't think, I used to, but now I don't think of running as this horrible, hard chore or task. I'm doing it because, like, I love myself. And do you know what? I have a great feeling after it. And some days I might run like 1 mile, and some days I might run 6 miles. It depends what I'm feeling like. But it's strengthening my heart. It's making me feel good after. I enjoy it. Strangely, it has brought me and my mother closer together, because my mother runs every day, like Christmas Day, every single day. She's a wee bit obsessive now. But but now that I'm away, we'll send a text every day to be like, "Oh, did you run? How did it go? Like, how far did you go?" And even that, as weird as it sounds, but running has improved my relationship with my mother. you know? So I have so much enjoyment from it. I don't do it because I hate myself. I do it because for the total opposite, you know, because I like love myself a wee bit more.
Yeah, and it's also not only built the relationship with your mum, it's also built the relationship up with yourself.
Yeah, 100%.
Because one of the things you said in the message was, and again, this is so self-aware of you, and it was so curious of you to figure this out. You said something like you started running, but then what you noticed was you was actually using running to begin with initially, of course not now, but at the beginning you was using it for the only thing to like make you happy.
Yeah.
So it was distraction, it was something to do. So can you just like go into that a little bit?
So basically what I said to yourself was that for the 3 months I was at home, and then whenever I came back in like the summertime and I had didn't have uni, I was running at least 6, if not 7 days a week. And yeah, to the point of being a little bit obsessive. And then whenever I got back to uni and I was very busy again, uni work and trying to have a healthy lifestyle, I would maybe have went, like, I could have easily have went 2 or 3 days without running because I was so busy, straight from uni to work, home to bed and repeat. And then I started to realize that maybe by the end of the 3rd day without running or doing a workout or something, I was feeling really down. And I then started to notice that even in the mornings, so for the say 2 hours or so between my breakfast and going out for my run while I was doing like schoolwork in the time, I would have felt pretty down. And I started to realize, okay, this running's all well and good, but I am now relying on it and using it as a distraction from what's going on up here, as opposed, it's not a cure. I thought it was a cure, maybe it wasn't, it was a distraction. And I was able to realize that and then start to like work on more self-acceptance, I think. And I think that's like the best way to describe it. I just realized that I was kind of addicted to those endorphins, and it was now becoming an unhealthy relationship with running. So, but as soon as I was aware with that, I could straight away like kind of work on it. And you know, now if I don't get to do exercise for 3 days, I'm not depressed or something. I'm grand. Depressed is a very strong word. Sorry, like I don't know if I should use that or not, but you know, I'm not down and in a slump. I just like, okay, well, like I've been flat to the mat for the last 3 days. No big deal. I'll schedule in something tomorrow. We'll make it a priority for tomorrow, but I'm not in the pits, you know, whereas before I would have been like in the pits and like, I need some good endorphins, you know.
Wow, I just love everything you've said, and which is huge for you because knowing your past as well, because I would like you to talk about your anorexia in a moment as well. And again, because we're from the same boat, if that's the right saying to use, like we were both been anorexic, we've both had the all or nothing mentality, the diet mentality, the or everything, and I'm giving it all, or I'm just not bothering at all. So of course that creeps in with food, with body image. Like, so for you to first of all give yourself compassion and understanding and love and acceptance, and then just make it a priority when you can, with it just, you're living in the grey area right now, which I like to call the colourful area.
Okay.
Because black or white, you've got good or bad, right or wrong, yes or no. Whereas the grey area is, do you know what? I actually did a podcast yesterday, high standards, low expectations. Like, you can set high standards for yourself, but if you don't expect that those high standards are always going to be met with no exceptions, which is basically perfectionism, which doesn't exist, the difference between reality and your expectations is disappointment. And so if you don't want to constantly feel disappointed, annoyed, angry at yourself, it's best to have high standards. Like you said, oh, do you know what? I was busy for 2 days. No biggie, I'm going to run tomorrow. Like, that's huge for you because you suffered with an eating disorder for a few years, didn't you, when you was younger?
Yeah, so well, it's a bit of a funny one for me too. It's a bit hard for me to put like specific timelines and stuff on it. But whenever I was, I want to say around 13, early teenage years, I ended up becoming dangerously thin. So yes, anorexic. It was the whole start of it to be honest, that part is actually such a small part in the whole battle with food. For me, when I look back on it, before I suddenly, like really suddenly dropped into this dangerous state, I was completely normal, completely healthy. Like I was a slim, normal, 12, 13-year-old, just, I rode horses, played a bit of hockey, did dancing, I just lived this really like normal, pretty active teenage lifestyle. And then something in my mind clicked one day, who knows? And I'm a little bit of a control freak too. I am a little bit, so I think there's stuff with that comes into it, which is what I've like later learned, like years later learned. And I started to, like I say, around 13 or 14, to get really obsessive and controlling over what I ate, over what like I put into my mouth and my body. I wouldn't eat someone else's cooking. I started to cook my own dinners at that young age. And I would have lived off like chicken and vegetable stir fries with like noodles and soy sauce. And my mother was kind of like, oh, this is great, because she loved having that. So I'd make dinner for the two of us while she'd make dinner for the four boys, lasagna, shepherd's pie, stew, whatever. But she was loving like the chicken and veggie stir fries. And it was very controlling. So I would have lived off that for my dinner. I just basically, my food intake kind of slowly became very minimal from a really normal, I guess, like normal diet. Obviously loved chocolate and crisps and all, what kid doesn't? To then being really obsessed with what I ate, really controlling of it. My calories must have been so low. And I think it was noticeable to other people, like literally from like this, like all of a sudden weight had just dropped off me and I was gaunt. And that was a really strange time, obviously. I was very thin. Some people slowly in school, friends, slowly started to say things to me. Two girls in particular, I can remember. One girl, I wasn't maybe I was very close to being dangerously thin at the time, but I can remember this girl saying to me on the bus, like, Julia, you look really lovely, but like, please don't lose any more weight. And I was like, what? I'm not trying to lose weight. Like, but anyway, didn't really like what she said, so I kind of pushed her away. And then one of my best friends, we were in the corridor one day and she grabbed my arms. She come at me. She was like, what's wrong with you? Is everything okay with you? Like, are you dying? And I was like, no, I'm really pushing her back. Like, no, what? And she come and she grabbed my two arms. She put her two hands on my arms and she basically closed her hands around my arms. And then when she done that, her face dropped and she went, oh my God, what's wrong with you? And I shoved her off me and I was like, nothing, like, what's your problem? Didn't speak to her for months. Couldn't, this is one of my best friends, but I was like, what's she being at? I was really defensive of it. Then things kind of come to a head with like my mum and dad. I think the school had maybe called home on an occasion or two, towards like the real pits of it, saying like, what's wrong with her? One teacher, I think, called my mum to be like, I think she's bulimic, I think she's throwing up. I wasn't, like, I've never been able to make myself throw up. If I wanted to, I couldn't. And then I done a silly thing as teenagers do and ended up in the hospital one night. Okay, I may as well say it, whatever, it's the past. Silly teenager, got my hands on some drink, went a little bit crazy and ended up in the hospital. They of course had to weigh me to pump my stomach, and at this stage the police had called my dad. My dad was there, and now this was all told to me after, so along the lines of, he basically had to hold me upright on the scales because I couldn't, and the nurses turned to him and was like, if she doesn't put weight on, she's going to be back in here very soon to be put on a drip, because like her body's not going to keep up with this. So the next morning, my mother's telling me this, and then she got quite pushy on me. I remember a week or two later, her telling me to stand on the scales in front of her, which I was mortified, absolutely mortified to do. Now, believe it or not, I still didn't know I had a problem at this time. Of course, you can understand it, but even though I was like, I don't want to stand on the scales, and started stuffing my hoodie pocket with stuff to stand on the scales in front of her, I still didn't realize or accept that I had a problem. I didn't think there was anything wrong.
Mm-hmm.
So then eventually, I'd say the pits of that, the bad time of that was for, I don't know, a few months, under a year, that I was, noticeably a problem to other people, if you know what I mean. Then I kind of like put on weight again. So, oh, good, she's cured, she's put the weight back on. We're all good now. Now we can forget about it and move on. No, it's not the case. I'd say I've had a bad relationship with food for the guts of like 10 years then. Well, like I said, I'm 24 now, and say the worst of that was when I was 14. So and this last year I've been a lot better, but for at least 9 years, maybe 10, 11 in total, I had a really, really messed up relationship with food, with my body, yeah, all stuff like that. So while to people looking at me, I was maybe in a really bad state for, not that long of a period of time. In my head, to me, like it was a long time that I had like struggles and issues and stuff. And I mean, like I couldn't even say the word like anorexic or something until I was about 20. And it was years later until I started to kind of understand about that really bad time. And I mean, even talking to people, like, again, is something pretty recent for me, like this is a bit of a big deal for me. Me and my mom have never even really talked about anything. It was kind of like, oh, look, she's back to a normal weight, so she must be all right. And it was kind of left that. Not that I'm not blaming like anyone, like I don't want it to come across like that, but just I think it's such a more psychological issue than people realize. And I think that for people to really come through it, I think to get someone to come through it quickly, shoving food down their neck is not the way to go. It's maybe a therapist or something like this, or the likes of yourself, of course, that's the perfect example. But yeah, so the mental issues and thoughts and all that you live with after it's over is can be brutal enough. So yeah.
Yeah. Wow. Thank you for sharing all of that. I know
Yeah.
that means a lot to you. And when we first met, actually, I remember, I'm sure you won't mind me saying, you were struggling with like binge eating around that time. So of course I reached out and helped you with that. But I totally agree. Like I actually got forced to go to therapy because my mum just wanted to do something to try and help. I had to get weighed, like medically weighed every week. And the same as you, I used to stuff things in my pockets. I used to like wake up in the morning. When you wake up in the morning, you need a wee desperately, right? I used to hold the toilet all day. I didn't go to the toilet for like 24 hours until I was weighed to try and at least keep weight in me. It was painful, but at the same time, it's funny when my experience of being anorexic, I didn't see myself as skinny. I saw everyone around me as fat.
Yes. Yes. Oh my God, yes, that is so true. That is so, so true. I would look at other people and be like, oh, look at them, and look at that mere mortal having to survive on food. Here's me. I am the elite of society. I don't need anything to survive. Only like I don't need anyone. I don't even need food to survive. That is how good I am. So yeah, it's crazy.
It's not our fault, without digging deep and doing a bit of therapy now to find out why. I mean, therapists have asked for years why mine happened. All I can say is it was like your story. It's so weird. I think I watched a film by myself and something just clicked and I was like, I'm just gonna not eat. And then I just didn't eat. And I don't want to talk too much on this podcast about not eating because this can be very triggering for some people, and it's not the way to go. It just causes decades and decades of problems and self-hatred. So I agree with you completely that it's all a psychological issue, all mindset, and it takes, I say choice is instant, but then change, like to see the physical change from the choice you make isn't instant. It takes practice, like all the body image work. For me to be a size like 4 and clothes fall off me, to thinking I actually wasn't fat at all. And I mean, I wasn't skinny at all. In fact, I was actually had more weight to lose. Like, where from? Like your bones or something.
Yeah, I know.
To then do that work, and it takes time. But me and you have had similar stories in the fact that we went from being anorexic to then binge eating, and then dieting, and then being on the diet binge cycle, because binge eating is actually your body's response to keep you alive. So it's actually helping you, because your body thinks you're going to die because you're just not eating. Or even if people listening thinking, yeah, but I keep binging, so I'm never going to, like, quote, be close to death because I've got enough fat on me. It's, your mind is so powerful. So if I sat here today and was like, right, I'm going to diet tomorrow, I guarantee you my whole physiology, your body never forgets. Number one, it will think, holy shit, you died nearly before because she didn't eat. So I am going to cause every signal in her body, her taste, her cravings, everything, to drive her to eat, because tomorrow it's going to be taken away.
Yeah.
And that's the Last Supper syndrome. And that's what binge eaters do. And this is what I was doing. But the funny thing was, well, not funny, but just, that's what word I'm using. Before I got a coach and before I hit rock bottom and got help myself, I would have the Last Supper every night because, okay, tomorrow I'm going to stop my diet. And then I couldn't even stick to a diet for like 1 hour anymore.
Yeah.
But my mindset was so restrictive, even though my weight was showing not, because I was putting weight on because I kept binging every day. It's not about what you look like or how much fat you've got on your body or reserves or whatever. It's all up here in your mind. Like, even if you think of dieting, your body will send signals to drive you to eat. Like, I'm not shitting you. That's how powerful your brain is.
Yeah, no, and I think it's a funny thing too, because whenever you hear it and whenever you get told it or you read about it or whatever, you kind of go, wow, that makes so much sense. That is so natural and normal and simple, and our bodies know all that without us even having to think. And yet, when you're in like a state, until it is made like blatantly clear to you, however, it's not obvious. So it's, in one hand, it's so obvious, but when you're in a state, it's not obvious. It's not obvious at all. It's, I suppose it's kind of like, it's easy when you know how. But I just can I like reference a book? Like, is that okay?
Yeah.
So it's the book that you like first got me onto, that book, The Fuck It Diet. And
By
there's
Caroline Donor.
Yeah. And there's a chapter in it, or a section in it, and it basically talks about I'm going to explain this so bad probably, but it was after World War I or World War II, and this scientific experiment in America for rehabilitating starving people. So if anyone has like listened to it or goes and listens to it, they'll hear the story themselves. I don't need to explain it. But it talked about, all the stuff that was found out during it and what happened to those men and what they went through. And that was like how everything was like a trigger, like all at once at the start. This was kind of like a trigger. I don't want to say at the end, but to now put me on another journey, on another path, because I remember I had my earphones in, I was doing a bit of cleaning or something, and this part came up and it was talking about the men and what was happening to them and what was going on. And I felt so sad. Like, it literally, like, had, like, I'm not much of a crier, but it had me on the verge of tears. I sat down, I stopped what I was doing, I sat on the edge of the sofa listening to it, because I related to almost every single thing that was happening. And for like the first time in my life, probably, I truly felt sorry for myself. And I was like, oh my God. And I was like talking to myself, like, I'm sorry that I had put myself through that. I am sorry that I'd done that to my body. My body is keeping me alive. I'm sorry I did that to you. And I can remember like Maddie was out working, and I can remember being like, oh my God, I need someone to talk to. And I think I maybe called you or sent you a voice note or something at the time, but I was like, I just
I
need to talk
remember.
to someone about this, because in that moment, like, it changed everything. And like I say, I think it was the first time I truly experienced compassion given myself, like, and it was crazy. It was really powerful. And then remembering, I started to remember, it was even talking about the fellas sleeping all the time. And I started to remember how I would come home from school and maybe go out and ride the horse, and then I'd be in and I'd sleep until, I ate my bit of dinner, and then I'd sleep after that. And I remember, like, one day it was really cold, it was in the winter, and I went up to ride the pony, and my mum was like, right, you go inside, like, I'm gonna ride the pony here. Like, my mother also rode horses, and she was like, you go inside, because she knew, she didn't say it, but she must have knew that my body wasn't even able to, like, be out in the cold and having to work hard for an hour in the cold because I looked that bad, So once I started to remember that, I felt really sorry for my old self. And I suppose that was kind of where things started to change for me. Slowly but surely, things started to.
What you did there is some inner child work without you realizing that.
Okay.
So to go back, so for something to trigger you, to bring back the emotion that you felt at the time that you went through that, you resonated with that, it almost took you back in, like, memory and feeling like, oh, yes, that was what happened to me. For you to give yourself compassion and love to your inner child, I like to call it, like, to your younger self, that you healed yourself around that really traumatic time when you just sat and, like, held yourself. Like, this sounds strange, but when you sat and held your younger self, like, when you just was like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry,
Yeah.
and I love you, oh, that's just so beautiful, because that's like a huge step that you did again for yourself without really knowing what you were doing, but you had all the wisdom within you, we all do, for you to do that. That's amazing.
Okay.
And
It's good.
and what you're talking about is, if I say it right, the the starvation product, or it's the minist something. I write about it all the time. I can't think what it's bloody called. It's like the ministaver or something like that, starvation project, and they did it to see how men would do, or how they would react on a quote starvation diet, because the starvation diet, I think, was like 2,500 calories a day, and that was the starvation diet.
Yeah.
And then if you look at what my fitness pal, 1,200 calories a day or something.
Nonsense.
No, if anyone listening has got my fitness pal, get your phone, delete the app.
Yeah.
All you need is you. Like, all you need is your heart, and just check in and be like, do you know what feels right now? And if you're completely confused, I get it, I've been there, I hear you, and I can help you through this. Like, this is why I do what I do. But you have all the answers inside of you. You just need to, like, start to trust yourself. And there's one last question I'd like to ask you before we end this amazing episode that has gone so fast. This hour has just flew by.
Oh my God, is it an hour?
Yeah, it's crazy, isn't it?
Time flies when you're talking about yourself.
I've not heard that one before. I like that.
Made it up.
Time flies when you're having fun, and we're definitely having
Yeah.
if you was to give, so if someone was in the position that you was in, like, a couple of years ago, so take yourself back a little bit further, where you were in the diet binge cycle, the self-help circle, like, nothing's ever good enough, all of those things, knowing what you know now, what are 1 to 3 pieces of advice you would give to that person to help them on their journey? Obviously, knowing that there's no quick fix, right? You can make a choice in an instant, but there's no quick fix in an instant, but you can make that choice to heal, or to recover, or to do the thing, or whatever that is. What advice would you give your younger self, if you like?
Okay. Wow, it's a tough one, like. So if I could go back and say some stuff to myself, to my younger self, I think it would be along the lines of, The people that you know love and care about you, try to hear them out. Try to stop pushing them away. Stop demonizing them. Try to hear them out. You know that they love and care about you. So try to understand that they are coming from a place of love and compassion and wanting to help you. So stop being so hard on them. Try to listen, stop being afraid to talk about it. It's so hard. Like, it has taken me a long time to even have remotely emotional conversations with a person, and educate, get knowledge, get education. Like, nothing. Oh my gosh, how do I word what I want to say right now? If you're going to do anything worth doing, whether it be getting yourself out of, like binge diet cycle, getting yourself, moving on from this eating disorder, even just getting yourself out of a bit of a slump where you're feeling down for a couple of days. If you're going to do that, you need tools to help you. Like a builder needs tools to build a house, you need tools. You can't go down the shop and buy these tools. You need to give these tools to yourself. And the way of getting these tools is by educating yourself, by getting knowledge, by getting understanding. Of course, most importantly, by understanding yourself and all this. But it's going to take work. Like, it's going to take work. But go out there, look for the knowledge, for the help. So much of it is widely available, when you know where to look. So try and get the knowledge and the education and whatnot to give yourself these tools to help yourself, because it's gonna get better. You need to do a little bit of work, but anything worth having takes a bit of work, doesn't it? Or anything worth doing or whatever takes a bit of work. So yeah, don't try not to be afraid of the challenge ahead, and go for it. Yeah, I don't know. I hope that makes sense.
Oh, I have cold shivers. It makes so much sense. I love so much the analogy you just used.
Yeah.
I was waiting for the word, and you even said the way I was feeling, like the way you said you need tools and you need to give them to yourself. I was just like, yes, oh my gosh, that's just so much yes. And that is a gift that you're giving to yourself in order to get better and go on this journey that, there's no end, is there?
Yeah, no. And just to build what you said, you deserve that gift. You deserve that gift. And your body's a wonderful thing. It's what's keeping us alive. Do you know what? Your mind and your body, both of them, physical health and mental health, they go, at the end of the day, they go hand in hand, and for both of them, we need to put a little bit of work in, but the rewards that come back from that bit of work are going to be amazing. And yeah, life can be really good. It can be really good.
Like, one of my affirmations when I was on my journey was, life gets to be this good.
Yeah, it does.
Like, you don't have to suffer. Like, life doesn't have to come with a side ordering of heartache or suffering,
No.
struggle. Like, no, you can have the full fucking dessert and full course of joy. It's your choice.
Yeah, 100%. And I do, like, I kind of said it to you at the start there, but even just starting to appreciate the smaller things, and like I say, get a bit of enjoyment out of, like, bettering myself and educating myself, and feeling like I'm on a journey. Like, I've got a purpose. Like, I don't know exactly what my purpose is yet, and I still, I can't, I slowly, like, again, this is all, like, I'm still, like, on this journey, and I'm trying to, like, truly love and accept myself, like, it's, I don't love staring at myself naked in the mirror, you know. But I try to do it a wee bit. Sorry if that's like TMI.
Oh, no way. No way.
Do
Nothing
you
to
know?
on
And
you. Nothing.
you know what? Right, maybe this is random and weird now. But see, when you're going to the shower, if you're, you know, that's something you do every day. I try to like every day. I'll go outside and I'll like take really deep breaths of like the fresh air, like really deep in through my nose and out through my mouth. And I'll look around and I'll look at random things and like consciously appreciate them. Like I look out there, we have water buffaloes in the field in front of us. So I'll go out and I'm like, them wee baby water buffaloes, the fact that I get to see them running and watching them run makes me so happy. So I like go out and like breathe in the fresh air and say things like, and aren't them trees lovely and things like this. And then when I'm having a shower, like I put my tunes on and I'm having a dance about like naked. Oh gosh, if someone is, oh dear, my mum and dad will listen to this and be like, what? But you know, and I'll be like dancing about in the bathroom, singing to myself, singing along to the tunes before I get in the shower, probably during the shower and definitely after it, and just taking enjoyment out of them wee things, you know, and it's helping me. So I don't know. So listeners, how we dance before the shower next time you get in the shower.
Hell yes. And funny thing is, you know, Julia, one of the body image things that I share and encourage my clients to do, spend as much time with yourself naked as you possibly can. Clean naked, work out naked. Like, yeah, if you need to look after your babies with a sports bra, then obviously I legit have a sports bra and that is it. Like, because I'm doing body image work every day. Like, I'm a body image coach, but I'm still doing the work. I'm practicing what I preach. Like, I'm appreciating myself. Like, if I'm like due on my period, and that's for me the week where my mindset work is definitely harder, it doesn't come as natural. And I notice things like, oh, I've got like a really soft roll and I kind of don't like that, but then I'm like, no, let me get curious with that and let me love it anyway. Like, I don't have to force myself to love something about me physically.
Yeah.
I can love myself and get curious about the things that I'm rejecting. So when I reject parts of myself, I get curious, then send love to it, and then just be okay with whatever comes of that. Like, it's just practice.
Yeah. Do you know what? Can I tell you a wee bit of a story here? But another wee story. But there was a moment there at Christmas that I was able to realize that I've grown as a person in the last year. And so basically, um, in the summer there, at the end of the day, yes, your body is changing and stuff. In the summer there, you know, I was looking well or whatever. Since then, I've put on a bit of weight, because it's, you know, I'm eating more comfy foods. My job is shut, so I'm not as active as I used to be. Like, there are just really normal logical reasons for this, that I've like put on a wee touch of weight over the winter period. And I was home at Christmas and my mother, like, I knew all week she was trying to get at something. So this one day before I headed back to Holland, she come in and she sat me down and she was really beating around the bush. And how did it go? But she was like, is everything okay? Is everything okay with you? And I was like, aye, yeah, like great, you know, like, do you not notice? Like, very good. But and then I started to click on at what she was getting at. And I just goes to her, I goes, Mum, are you here to talk to me about why I put on a wee touch of weight the last 4 months since you last seen me? She was like, yeah, you know, you know, why have you put on weight? I'm worried why you've put on weight. You know, we're a family of, you know, emotional eaters or something. So is there something wrong? And I stopped her and I goes, Mum, let me tell you now. I goes, you've nothing to worry about. It's your job to worry, you're a parent, but you've nothing to worry about. I'll tell you why I've put on a wee bit of weight. It's very easy. It's the winter time. I'm eating more comforty foods than what you would in the summer. Summer's a bit fresher. Now there's a lot more potatoes, but I love them. And I said, my lifestyle's changed a bit with work being shut. I have a very active job. It's shut. I'm not as active. And I said, you know yourself, in the summer, I'm out for a walk at 9 o'clock at night. I can't do that at the minute. And also, when I'm at home, even if I go running, I'm running up and down hills like mad. Here it's all flat. So even that is bound to have a bit of a difference. So I said that to her too. And I said, like, you've nothing to worry about. I was like, I'm just changing a wee bit because of like seasonal changes and all. And that's all it is. And I knew I'd bought 4 pair of jeans the day or two before, and you couldn't try clothes on, of course. So I bought kind of 2 different sizes to try them on at home with the idea that I'd return what I didn't need. And it was so funny. The smaller size, just a wee bit too tight. This bigger size, just a wee bit too big. It was really in between. But I was like, right, then I just keep all 4. I'm able to, so I'll keep them. It's not going to break the bank that we're in the sale. And I remember saying to Mum, I've got 4 pair of jeans there. And she goes, would you not return some of them? And I goes, why? And she was like, well, sure, do you really need 4 pair of jeans right now? I mean, your body's changing. Like, what if you lose a bit of weight and them jeans are too big? I was like, Mum, don't worry about it. It'll be grand. Don't worry about it. And then the next day she comes in and she says this to me. And like I say, that was how I knew it was coming. And like I say, I just said, this is the case. This is why it is. You've nothing to worry about. There's nothing wrong. And I said, Mum, like, I'm not, regardless of what you might think is right or wrong, I'm not going to go tracking calories. I'm not going to go trying to lose weight. I said, weight is going to come off me as it comes into the summer months. That's what's going to happen. I'm not consciously going to do that because I have learned enough about myself to not do that. That is detrimental to me. So I won't. And I was able to walk away from the conversation and not feel crap or feel sad or go and beat myself up or sit and stare in the mirror and be like, I'm disgusting. Whereas before, I would have straight away been like, oh, right, okay, yeah, right, that's fine, I'll try and lose, and would have felt really crap after it. Whereas I was able to tell her how it was, bring the conversation down and just be totally fine with it and get on the day after. So the fact that I could just get on with the day after, that was huge for me.
Wow.
So, yeah.
I want to celebrate you for that. Like, wow, especially from your mother as well. All I have to say is wow. And the fact that you didn't abandon yourself, you stuck up for yourself, you was there for yourself, which is everything to do with self-love and self-worth, and everything has a domino effect. Like self-care goes into self-love goes into self-worth, self-esteem, self-confidence, all of the beautiful things. Like, for you to stand up for yourself but fully do it from a place of love and not just attacking your mum either, like being fully okay with all of that. Wow.
Like my mum too, it was coming from a place of love from her, but I just had to kind of educate her on something then, and that's all it was, and it was fine. So that was a point where I was able to realize that I as a person have grown. And
yay, that makes me so happy. That's amazing. And guys, we're going to bring this episode to an end now, but if you're listening still, thank you, and you're resonating, please screenshot this and put it on your social media and tag us both. So are you on Instagram and Facebook, Julia?
I'm not on Facebook. The only social media I have is Instagram, and it's just Julia Lyttle, all small, all together, JuliaLyttle. So
yes, tag us both. And I want to call this episode, if it's okay with you, I want to call it Every Cloud Has a Silver Lining.
Go for it. Love it.
Yeah, so if you can screenshot this episode, tag us, and then hashtag Every Cloud Has a Silver Lining. That would be amazing. And let us know what you find. If you found all the golden nuggets that have been in this, and I could still talk to you for like another hour or so.
We can go on and on. If the listeners, if you have listened to my voice this long, then congratulations.
I love your accent. I'll never get bored of it.
I hope all the words I said were understandable and stuff, because I know sometimes I just don't make sense. So I
noticed a few Irish sayings in there, but I understood fully.
Okay, then it's fine.
So it's good. But thank you so much
for your
time, for your energy, for your wisdom, for your love, for everything. I love and appreciate you.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for everything. Thank you for this experience, and thank you for all thanks for the journey you've kind of set me on here, so yeah.
My pleasure. I'm just so
help someone.
All right, beautiful. Thank you so much.
You're so welcome.
Mwah.